edition is out now. Read all about it. Tell your friends, tell your dogs, tell your pets. Read all about it. African American Folklorist Newspaper second edition is out now.
Listen, I am co-founder, founder, and editor of the African American Folklorist Newspaper. Hold on. I'm sorry, we just had a very busy time right now. Hold on. We already released issue 1. We are in the process of releasing issue 2. Did you hear the kids outside? Extra, extra, the second edition. We need your help. We need all of your help. We're in a recession, we're in oppression, we're in succession, everything is happening right now. But with your help, we are raising $5,000. This is our second, I repeat, our second campaign. The first one went well, this one needs to go gold. We're raising $5,000 to complete our mission so that we can continue to serve our community for a full year. And then after that, we'll be back for more so we can serve our community a year more. Hold on. Okay, like I said, we need your help.
Extra, extra, read all about it. The second edition to the African American Folklorist Newspaper is out right now. We have tons of people writing for the newspaper, a bunch of articles, and even a kids section. So come, get yours today. Extra, extra, read all about it.
The video you just saw is for our campaign, which is on Indiegogo. I will put that link in the chat one more time. And to kick off our fantastic online concert, we have the Piedmont Blūz Acoustic Duo. So I am very excited about these two people because I have always wanted to meet Valerie Turner. I feel like our circles have been circling around each other, so I'm super happy about it. So the duo is Valerie Turner and her husband Benedict Turner. They are ambassadors of the country blues music and the Piedmont style of finger picking. Their mission is to help preserve the rural East Coast traditions by educating audiences about this unique aspect of African American culture. And they've entertained audiences both here domestically in the United States and abroad, and they are much loved everywhere they go, which I absolutely believe. In 2018, they were inducted into the New York Blues Hall of Fame. And they feel that there are stories to tell, people to remember, and things that must be said. So in addition to tickling your ears with delightful music, they will also weave a bit of history into the presentation of each song, which is very important to the mission of our newspaper and also why they're here. And if you got the second issue of our newspaper, you know they are right there on the front cover. So without further ado, yes, see right there, Lamont's got it. We have Ben and Valerie Turner, the Piedmont Blūz Acoustic Duo.
Benedict Turner. This is Valerie Turner, and we're the Piedmont Blūz Acoustic Duo coming to you live from New York City.
Well, we're streaming from home, and it's wonderful to have company. It's a pleasure having you as our guests this evening. We play country blues, and we started with a short tune inspired by both Mississippi John Hurt and Brownie McGee, who are a couple of our favorite early blues musicians. And although we've just got mugs of hot tea here,
Cheers.
Some of you are probably relaxing at home with a glass of wine or a bottle of beer, and that's perfectly fine because it ties in with the song that we're about to play, which is called Drunken Barrel House. It was composed by Lizzie Douglas of Louisiana. Some of you may know her as Memphis Minnie, and in her era, she was one of the greatest blues musicians around.
Yes, she was.
So here we go with Drunken Barrel House. Listen to me, good people. I'll tell you what it's all about. Well, if you listen to me, good people, I'll tell you what it's all about. Well, that good stuff is here, and it's just pouring out. Catch me drunk in the morning. Don't say one mumbling word. Now catch me drunk in the morning. Don't say one mumbling word. I'll tell you all about it. I won't tell you nothing that hurts. I'll get drunk. Tear this old barrel house down. Well, I believe I'll get drunk. Tear this old barrel house down. I ain't got much money, but I can hobo on out of town. Stein of beer, at least a drink of gin. Give me a stein of beer, Dante Wright, 20, Minnesota.
George Floyd, 46, Minnesota.
Breonna Taylor, 26, Kentucky.
Tanisha Anderson, 37, Ohio.
Eric Garner, 43, New York.
Freddie Gray, 25, Maryland.
Michael Brown, 18, Missouri.
Tamir Rice, 12, Ohio.
Sandra Bland, 28, Texas.
Daniel Prude, 41, New York.
These are but a few names representing people who were killed by police officers. It happens disproportionately to African Americans. This is not new, and law enforcement is in need of reform. Well, Charlie Jordan of Arkansas wrote a song nearly a century ago that talks about the terror of police raids. The song is called Raiding Squad Blues, and we're going to play it for you in a minute. But first we want to tell you about, there's this one word in the song that might be unfamiliar to you, or its meaning anyway. The word is bulls, not the kind with the horns. In the early 1900s, bulls was a slang term for policemen because of how aggressive they can be. So when you hear the word bulls in this song, just replace it in your mind with the word police. Just gonna adjust my tuning slightly. Okay. head to my feet. Oh, these raids are killing me. Want my body buried, Lord, down in Tennessee. These bulls are killing me. These bulls are killing me. I know I am a prisoner, I only want to be free. When I had my money, my friends all ganged around. When I had my money, my friends all ganged around. Now I'm caught in these raids, my friends have thrown me down. These bulls are killing me. These bulls are killing me. It's too late, too late, too late, too late, too late. Too late, too late, too late, too late, too late. I'm on the way to hold over, you know I can't hesitate.
How's everyone doing this evening?
Everyone's doing good.
For you guys. And but first, we want to remind you to subscribe and donate to the African American Folklorist magazine. It includes interviews, articles from musicians, historians, ethnologists, community scholars, and academics who specialize in Black experience in America.
That's right. It's very important to support these endeavors, these very valuable endeavors.
Yes.
Well, we're going to move right along with a song from the Delta blues tradition now. This one is by William Newbern, who I believe was from Tennessee. He called this song Rollin' and Tumblin'. I'm really off. Okay, here we go. trouble, they are my two best friends. You know, blues and trouble, they are my two best friends. When my blues walked out this way, when my troubles walking in. Whiskey, now was a diving duck. If that river was whiskey, now was a diving duck. I dive to the bottom, I never would come up.
Yeah.
Gonna switch back to my other guitar. I know they probably look the same to you. They're both shiny. But they're completely different instruments. Oh. This one is more my size. Well, we're gonna go in the complete opposite direction now. And we'll leave you with a medley from the Piedmont tradition that really highlights the alternating bass technique, which is the hallmark characteristic of the Piedmont style of finger picking. And if you watch this thumb, you'll see that it constantly goes back and forth between two bass strings while the other fingers add a syncopated melody to that. So this medley was arranged by John Cephas, who was a great country blues musician from Washington, D.C. He was our good friend and he was my mentor. I don't know if you can see him, but I have his picture right here. He's in every single live stream that we do, just about. Well, the ones we do from this spot here anyway. We keep him right there, peeking over our shoulders. So you can see how many songs you recognize in this little medley.
that's all we have for you tonight. Marquise Knox and Corey Harris will be performing later on, so please stand by. You don't want to miss it.
Thanks for watching. And support, please, the African American Folklorist magazine.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you for also telling us those like historical things. I would never have known any of that. So I find that so helpful.
Yes.
So yes. Oh my gosh. And we have new friends joining us. So we have we're gonna take a minute here to not only thank Piedmont Blūz. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. While you were playing that Piedmont medley, I was trying to teach my mom how to do the Piedmont steps. It didn't go very well, but it was a good try.
Word went well.
I wish we could have seen that.
Maybe I'll record it next time. I'll put it up on our Facebook page. And then that way, if any of you feel like dancing, let me know. So we're going to take a minute before we hand it off to our brother Marquise Knox. We're going to take a minute to meet some of our writers. And I think the two most important people to meet first are the founders of our newspaper and the entity that they have created, which is absolutely awesome. We have Lamont Pearlie and Denise Pearlie. They're also the founders of Jack Dappa Blues, which is also an amazing avenue for information about the blues and blues people and folklorists and history and culture and the Black experience. There's so many things that you guys do. So I just want to hand it off to you, Lamont and Denise, to tell us a little bit about how the newspaper became part of your work.
Well, first and foremost, before I get into that, I have to say a couple of things, because I've been privileged and honored to be on this journey along with Piedmont Blūz Acoustic Duo, and they've helped out a lot with so many different aspects and avenues of what I do and what my wife and I do. I just wanted to say how excited I was to hear Ben singing with Valerie. That really warmed me, because I remember I'm going to be singing. I was, oh yes. And then just to hear that, and to speak of John Cephas, I have never had the opportunity to meet him personally, but his spirit and legacy was passed on to me by Piedmont Blūz. And I keep this close to me, so I will never forget why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Let's see you wear it, Lamont. Put it on. Let's see.
why should we do that?
It's gonna mess up his high top.
It's gonna
Exactly.
mess up my top.
It's
You know,
worth it.
Yeah, don't look.
There you go. There
Good.
you go. I think so too. But that's for that's a different kind of performance. That's not what I'm here for this evening.
Looks good on you though, Lamont.
Thank you very much. The newspaper comes out of the private foundation, which is the Jack Dappa Blues Heritage Preservation Foundation. Denise and I felt the urgency to first and foremost tell our story, but also, as we document the story, galvanize other people of the African American tradition and heritage to also tell their stories. And we wanted to be the incubator and hub of these things. But it was particularly towards the blues, the music, right? So the African American Folklorist Newspaper, let me show you yet again. This is our way to extend it from not just the blues people, meaning the practitioners and the legacies of practitioners, but we can take the people who, well, let me rephrase that. The people who the music comes from, the stories that makes the music, the behaviors, vernaculars, regions, and interactions of Black folk that made this expression. We wanted to get this newspaper and present all of the above. Also, not just celebrating people on the world stage, but so that we can have a space to celebrate the auntie next door, the grandfather that lives down the street that fixes everybody's bicycle, because everyone, their story is not only important, but it adds and contributes to the legacy of African American traditional music and the Black experience on the Americas particularly. So that was the purpose of the magazine. And we want to also reach out to everyone to tell their story. And this is the place to tell that story. Specifically, again, to African American in the Black experience. And I say it that way because we want people of all colors to participate and read and engage, because we hope not on a kumbaya moment, but in a situation where we can have an understanding of each other's culture, traditions, and even vernaculars and foods. So even if we don't agree on everything, we can still coexist and get along. That was really the big reason for the newspaper.
Well, this brainchild. Well, can I speak now? I don't know. Yeah. Well, this brainchild of the newspaper came about, as you know, that my husband, he loves to speak, and behind the scenes I love to speak as well. But we're big on family, and we always have family discussions with our children. From my experience growing up, I had a big family, but we never really spoke about where they came from. I heard bits and pieces. So we're actually on a discovery now of learning where my family came from in their migration, and where Lamont's family came from in their migration. And we want our kids to get to know us, like, in detail, where we grew up, the foods that we eat, why was it, these events important in life during this time, so they can understand who we are as a person. Because even though I have all these aunties and uncles, I really don't know them. I just know them by face. I don't know their history. I don't know what school they went to. I don't know anything. So we come across a lot of people all the time telling Jack their story, telling me their stories. And we was like, you know what, let's put something together in a newspaper to take back our narrative, because we hear our story from so many different avenues, and we wanted a hub to keep all of that together. And me and Lamont worked very, very hard on this. I have to really give kudos to him, because, behind the scenes, me and him are always masterminding all these different things, but he puts a lot of this stuff in the forefront. He does the editing. He does the everything with the paper and stuff like that, and putting out all this different information for all the people to know. And it takes a lot of work, and it's a lot of time and a lot of money. So we need your support right now to help us to continue to keep this hub, to document our history, to take back the narrative, and let everybody know everybody has a story, but it's ours. And let's support.
Let me just jump in there to piggyback off something you said, because it brings home the point of why it's not just important for us, but for everyone to be a part of this. This all started when I went to Louisiana to bury my pops in 2004, and found out when I was sitting in a shotgun house off a dirt road right across the street from a burial ground that was nothing but pearlies. So what ends up happening is and then my granddaddy died, who's from Mississippi, but we buried him in Virginia on a military cemetery. And all our family from Mississippi, Detroit, and Chicago comes. I come back home, and at this time I was rapping. And I come home singing nothing but the blues and Black spirituals, and me and Denise is talking about this. And the reason why this part of the story is extremely important, because even though I knew as a child, I didn't fully know and identify that the migration and all these things that they talk about, the things they speak about surfacely,
in history and history books is not distant, right? We're products of this. So then as I started digging, there was a word that kept coming up, and the name, that word was called obscure. I don't know if you know what that word means, but it pretty much means less known. I take that word as a insult when they're talking about, in the space of folklore, history, ethnography, and ethnomusicology. I take that word as an insult when they're discussing these amazing Black folk that had such a significant contribution to their family and community, but when they're written about, as Denise said, and this is what made me think about this, they're referred to as obscure. So then I have to, I have to think about this. Are they minimizing our stories, right? And that's the major function. We cannot allow anyone to minimize our story. So we took action, and we hope, whether you're Black, white, yellow, red, whatever you are, that you take action, right, and tell your story, and don't let no one minimize your story. But as for us, this takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of overhead. It takes a lot of money, because God knows, if I was able to do anything outside of everything that my wife and everyone credits me for doing, I'll just be going on tour with Ben and Valerie. That's all I really want to do.
He's that serious. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, come on.
Well, I'm sure they'd let you. I'm sure they would.
We're waiting for you.
For sure.
Hopefully we can get that going.
There has to be a tour first.
Yeah, well, I'm in Kentucky. Kentucky is the best spot because we are right in the dead middle of everything. So we'll set that up, and we can hit Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana. Yes.
Seriously, that sounds like fun.
Once everything is back to normal, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, once there aren't virus germs everywhere, because we're staying in here.
I don't blame you. But yes. So we just want to make sure that we and also, if I may, in my space and in studying these things and reading these things, I don't believe everything is done maliciously. However, a lot of the stories and things that were documented had a personal spin by the people who documented it for many reasons. You got to also remember, at the turn of the century and prior and after, there was a different era, right? So we want to look back at those things and give the proper context of our story, right? But we also want to talk about those now, right? And that's why I call it African American or Black traditional music practitioners currently, right? Like Piedmont Blūz, like Marquise Knox, and a whole slew of others. We have traditions and legends in the making right now that we could be celebrating and writing about. So that's what this is about, and we need y'all help. So the donation link is right there. Pour it in, or as Dr. Umar says, run them donations. Back to you, V.
Oh, all right. I'm here. I'm ready. So do we want to go, because I feel like there are a lot of questions that we could ask of Lamont and Denise. So for our folks who are attending, if you have a question at any point during the music or during our conversations, please feel free to put that in the question and answer box, and I will happily make sure that those things get discussed or talked about.
And
So,
I can't do it without Mrs. Pearlie and the little ones. None of this is possible.
It's definitely a family affair, if you haven't noticed. Definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on that if I may, because the first time I was put in touch with Lamont was through a mutual friend who had seen a show that he did and was like, yeah, we got to have this guy come play for our blues dancers. And I was like, cool, let's do it. He does this history show. And I was like, yeah, let me know who you want to bring. And then I get all these questions. Is it appropriate for me to bring my children there? And I'm like, well, how old are your kids? It shouldn't be a problem, right? And the next thing I know, we got the whole Pearly family up there on stage singing for the entire, it was amazing. It was so wonderful. And I think
Great night.
Samara and Lamont Jr., you guys learned how to dance a little bit that night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Lamont, you're lying to me. I know. Shaking your head, but
Yeah.
I know. We danced.
Mhm.
So it was really wonderful. So I love that it is a family affair and it's amazing. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
So yeah, so that's a thing to know. And we do have our other writers here. We've got Michael
And a new
L.
writer.
Jones. He is an author, a freelance author and journalist. We also have Douglas Curry, whose voice, oh, y'all can't wait to hear his voice, I'm telling you. It's one of my most favorite sounds in the whole world. He hosts a radio show about blues, and he also writes for the African American Folklorist. So I'll make sure that we get to hear from them as well. We also have Ebony Bailey as a contributing writer. And then we have a youth section because the young people are what it's all about, right? So Samara Purley, Lamont Purley Jr., they both write as, we also have Dane, I believe, somewhere with us. So we'll definitely get to hear from all of those folks. So are we ready for more music? Do we have any questions?
No, I think we're good.
No, we're good.
I
Are we
think
ready?
someone asked a question when Valerie and Ben were playing, but I think they took it down or you answered it. Oh yeah.
Yes, that
You
was,
did.
so I did feel that. I feel like it's a question that we can talk about for a long time.
Right.
But this question was asked, how can policing be, quote, reformed?
Hmm.
Which is a real open-ended question. And this question came up when you were playing the song, I
Can
can't
I chime
remember,
in? Can I chime
Raiden.
in? First of all, I'm not going to answer this question. However, after Piedmont Blues answers this question, I would strongly implore you ask that question to Marquise Knox because he is the revolutionary bluesman.
No pressure, right?
Well, I think there are a host of ways that reform can happen. And I think reform has to happen in a host of ways, starting at local levels, state levels, and federal. All of that needs to happen because we are we are reliving the same experiences, only in a different way, but it's the same experiences that our parents, grandparents, great grandparents, and so on, as far back as you want to take it, have struggled with. I was born at the tail end of the civil rights movement. I remember the Jim Crow era. I lived through parts of that. And what I feel is that right now, what's happening today is taking us right back there, starting with all of the laws that have recently been passed that are making it more difficult for people to cast their vote and make their voices heard. Talking about how police, they have a free pass, it seems, to abuse us. And this has always been the case. The police came about because they wanted to have a group of people to control those dangerous black people. Well, there's nothing new that has happened. You know, I was for decades, I always said corporate America replaced the plantations.
No.
Okay? They have us doing the most menial work for the most menial amounts of pay. You have to fight and fight and fight to get anything. You have poor housing accommodations all over. How are those any different from the shacks that slaves had to live in? You have police running around, gunning us down, abusing us, stopping us. We all have stories. I have stories about things that have happened to me at the hands of police. I'm not dangerous. I'm not a threat. I'm harmless. But stuff has happened to me. Stuff has happened to Ben. You ask any black person on the face of this planet, they will tell you, if they're being honest, that they have had negative experience with the police at least once. At least. And it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how highly educated you are or how well you might be dressed. You're still a target once your skin is brown. And police need to become sensitized to the people that they are policing. They need to be able to recognize a threat from a non-threat. Let's start there. Not every black or brown person you see is a problem or a threat. And it's interesting how they can discern this when they are dealing with someone of their own kind. But when it comes to us, they can't see it. But yet we are raised and have to make all of these distinctions among white people. We're required to know your culture. We're required to know your behaviors, your preferences, your likes, your dislikes, your history. But when it comes to us, the reverse is never true. People have to have a broader scope and to be able to look at things with more impartiality and to treat us like human beings deserving of respect. Let's just start there. And it's not just police, it's like everyone, not just police. But they're the ones with the most guns, so start there.
Yeah, and first of all, when police are being hired, I definitely think it's important to give people to look over your social media, everything to do with that person before hiring them. Give them psychological tests, because it's important to know who is being hired. There are a lot of people who are being hired outside of the community that come into the community and abuse people. I think if people are made to live within that community that they're serving, they'll get to know the people and see that people are not dangerous. They're just very much like they are, so.
And I'm sorry if I've had a bit of a rant, but this was an unexpected question and there's just so much bottled up inside. And I worry every single day about my husband. I never let him out of my sight. If he wants to go to the corner to buy a bunch of bananas,
she wants to come with me.
I have to go with him.
You don't have to. You.
I have to go
ask.
with him. I'm worried. What is he going to do that's going to elicit some kind of negative attention from someone? Is he going to make it back home in one piece? Is he going to be alive? I worry every second of every day. And I don't like being out in society. And there are a lot of places that I think we will be turning down work because I don't want to go there. I don't feel, it's not that I don't want to go there, I don't feel safe.
The trauma is happening all over again. And unfortunately, the trauma is passed down from generation to generation, and it shouldn't have to be that way, but this is the society we live in. And by the way, Lamont has to ask me for permission to leave too. I'm scared to death for him to go anywhere. And we haven't really discovered Kentucky yet, but he's like, oh, I need to go here, go here. No, can't you do it on the Zoom? you know? So it's like, I get what you're saying, Valerie.
Yes, and my mother also worries about me going out every
Mhm.
day.
You can't help it. You can't help it. Well, just pray, ask for God's protection over our lives. Pray for all y'all all the time. And yeah, we're just gonna keep fighting the good fight, guys.
Well, now you know not to ask me any surprise questions.
I'm sorry.
Well, if I may, one of the great things about asking you a surprise question that culminated into this discussion, because it brings it back to the blues and the blues people and what we've been saying and writing about for centuries. This is not a new story, unfortunately. This is not a new story. So I think our grievances are more than plausible at this day and age, you know, and I would ask, oh, well, Marquise just turned his camera off, so I asked Doug, Mike, one of you guys, Sister Ebony, jump in and express real quick. We have a lot of people. Matter of fact, Terrence asked the question. He
That
said,
was Terrence's
so
question.
to me, who is that? He said, so to me, that's like saying Jim Crow or institutional racism can be reformed. Second thing he mentioned was who is doing the hiring. So if we put those two things together, and we're not going to harbor on this too much, but if we put those two things together, what can we come up with? Mr. Jones, do you want to jump in?
I actually live in the city where Breonna Taylor was killed. And I actually, I guess it was Tuesday night, I was part of a discussion about moving Confederate statues. And this started before Breonna Taylor. And then I was like, why are we talking about Confederate statues? That's a way for the city to act like they're progressive, but they're not really going to help anybody. I don't know any like poor Black person that's like, wow, I hope they move those statues. And then when Breonna Taylor happened and we saw that business as usual, those same progressive, supposedly progressive leaders were back to the same old playbook. So I just think that the city tries to do a lot of, shell games here in Kentucky.
Mr. Knox, Mr. Curry, do you guys want to jump in on this before we move to the next section?
I don't know. Well, can you hear me? All right. Well, being from St. Louis, I grew up in St. Louis and Berkeley, Missouri. Berkeley is next door neighbor to Ferguson, where they killed Mike Brown. And so I think when you have population where in St. Louis, it's not I had somebody tell me, they said, Marquise, you don't live in the city, you live in a small town. And I thought about that. I said, wait a minute, now St. Louis feel like a city to me. But when you live in a place that have, over 50, 60 municipalities inside of two factions, St. Louis City and St. Louis County, and these places begin to make money on Black lives. You see pulling people over, making sure they get revenue from tickets, traffic stops, and so on and so forth. These are the things that really begin to plague the community, because say, what's the saying that I'm out traveling somewhere and I may have had a speeding ticket or something, and then I get caught in some municipality where I don't have the bond to get myself out of jail. Now I lose my job, I lose my family, I lose my livelihood. And now it may not seem like it may not happen, but this happened every day to people. And these are the things that destroying our community, along with redlining. We already know what goes on with the banking. Imagine what was happening 100 years ago. Imagine what's happening now where you got Black people that may have some finances to move in certain communities and do better, and they just, hey, you know, why don't you just move somewhere else? Because that was a big story here in St. Louis about how a guy tried to buy a house in the city of St. Louis, but they were trying to sell him one in the county. So when I think about these things, you know, that's what the number one thing I think about is how they prey on us for revenue, you know, how Black lives have become so profitable. Whether they're living, you get taxed, you get financed to death towards the prison industrial system. If your mama want to talk to you, it costs $15 a minute. And if your mama want to bury you, you see, it costs over $100 a minute. You know, it's you don't know where to go to a lawyer, you bury your child. And then you got people who make money, an organization who make money on dead bodies, whether they want to or not. It just exists. This is the reality. So when somebody, I was talking about, meanwhile, back at the police department, bad apples. One apple can ruin the bunch. And then you can pull that one bad apple out, but then everything else is gone. But then if you don't tend to the whole bunch, you ruin everything. You see what I'm saying? So a start is not saying that police officers need to respect Black people. No, a start is saying that when they leave the police department and they pull up on the scene and there's Black people that they must tend to, you don't have to use lethal force as the first means of de-escalation, that you can find some other non-lethal force that you can use on us. Because I just watched a video where a white guy called the police officer out and told him if he didn't back up, he'd kill him, and they negotiated with this man. Why can't you negotiate with Black people? We helped build this nation. This is deeper than just saying respect us. Respect us in the same way you respect monuments and all this stuff. As my brother say, they play these board games, what are these emotional pieces? Respect my contribution, because the moment you tell me you don't respect my contribution, then I have to deal with you like someone who coming to destroy everything that I am, because that they are. And I rest my case on that.
Virginia?
Ooh, I feel, can I quote you on that, Marquise? That was like, I just wanna, all right, cool. I feel like I should have written it down. I'll do that in just a second. So with that, I think it is time for us to hear some more music. So as he mentioned, Marquise is from St. Louis, which if you've never been there is a very interesting place to visit. A lot of history. He learned how to play the guitar from his grandmother, Lily, and he also played with his uncle Clifford, who was a major influence in his life. So he comes from a family, right? A musical family, which is the best. I can, at least I imagine. He spent his early teenage years in St. Louis mentoring under the great blues legend, Henry James Townsend. And he is, as Lamont mentioned, a revolutionary bluesman. So without further ado, Marquise, we would love to hear you play.
I'll do this song I wrote almost a year ago. Well, I guess a little over a year ago when they killed our brother George Floyd. I written this song and it's getting ready to be featured in a magazine shortly, and it go like this. Now I know that you've seen those cops kill that man in the street. Now I know that you've seen those cops kill that man in the street. I'm just warning you, one day there could be you or me. What kind of life is this for black people to live? What kind of life is this for black people to live? Well, I guess I'll tell you on the way we feel. Now I'm young and not afraid, naked and the truth. Now I'm young and not afraid, naked in the truth. Sometime I feel like shooting no more than the blues. What kind of life is this for black people to live? What kind of life is this for black people to live? Well, I guess I'll tell you on the way we feel. Tell me the way you feel, Knox. Oh, yeah. A little song I wrote about our brother, George Floyd. For me, the blues is an expression, like I said, for, in my family, my people come from Mississippi, and all I can talk about really is the black experience from the way I experienced, you know, just one experience, just one opinion, one fact, on the whole totality of what it is to be black in America. But I do indeed think I feel the pulse of which, you know, my people live in, from whether it's young people or old people, because a lot of people don't even believe that I'm 30 years old, you know, so I have to contend with that. But I want to do songs that I think talk about now and reflect on who I am and reflect on exactly what this mission is, trying to get the word out about who we are and what we are and what we all are trying to do. So we're gonna do something like this. I'm on in the morning, get me a mojo hand. I'm going in the morning, get me a mojo hand. I don't want to fix my woman, she can't have no other man. Can't a woman act funny when she got another man? Can't a woman act funny when she got another man? Now you know she won't look straight at you, she always raising sand. Did I say what I'm gonna do when I get my mojo hand? Did I say what I'm gonna do when I get my mojo hand? I don't want to fix my woman, she can't have no other man. Can't a woman woman act funny when she got another man? Can a woman act funny, boy, when she got another man? You know she won't look straight at you, she always raising sand. Sand. Tell me, baby. She been a little sick, she said. You got to get that vaccine, darling. I'm going in the morning, get me a mojo hand. I'm going in the morning, get me a mojo hand. I don't want to fix my woman, she can't have no other man. Especially if you ain't quarantined with her. My grandmother used to have this saying, she said, son, put back for a rainy day. She said, sometimes you can have a rainy day when the sun's shining. And it took me a long time to understand that phrase. But as I grew older, I understood exactly what she was talking about. So I've written a little song, and I hope this helps somebody out. Thinking back on what the old folks used to say. My grandmother had a saying. It said, put back for a rainy day. And now I know that lady was in line. She said, some of your rainy days gonna come. Oh, while the sun shines. I'm only trying to tell you how I felt. I won't wish this on nobody else. I can't change the hand I've been dealt. Just some folks, oh, they say, son, you paying your blues. And others tell me, Knox, oh, they say, son, you paying your dues. And now I know, yes, up and down, reaching out for my friends and family. Well, my love can't be found. I'm only trying to tell you how I felt. I wouldn't wish this on nobody else. I can't change the hand I've been dealt. The feeling that I've had, some folks call it the blues. Others tell me Knox, oh, they say, son, you paying your dues. But I've had my fair share of ups and downs, reaching out for my friends and family. Well, my love can't be found. I'm only trying to tell you how I felt. I don't wish this on nobody else. I can't change the hands I've been dealt. Oh, a little blues from my brother. African American Folklore Newspaper, y'all. We're trying to raise a little money.
Oh yeah.
And just like the preacher, just like the preacher say, anybody got a dime, chip in. If you got a quarter, chip in. Anything that you got. I was driving to my people's house back in the country, and I heard the preacher start off at $100, and by the time he finished, he said, I know I got 1,000 there in the house.
Amen.
And it was about 4 or 5 people, my recollection, that had ran down to the pool pit that had signed off on $1,000. So I said, if that man could get the people to do that, whether they were real checks or not, they come down. But I want to do something, because when we talk about African American folklore, I want to do something for the coaching. I want to do something for Lil Nas X. I want to do something for country music. I want to do a little something for blues, because oftentimes when you think about the blues, we see how they come over and rock the blues out. Okay. But you don't get a chance to hear us play too many country tunes. I'm just a little inspired by my sister Valerie and my brother B. So I just want to do a little something like this. Now don't hold me to it. Your cheating heart will cheat on you. You'll cry and cry. Oh, I through, but sleep won't come. Let me get it right. Oh, not through. You'll cry and cry. Your heart will fail on you. And when tears come down, like fall and rain, you'll toss around and call my name. You'll walk the floor the way I do. Your cheating heart will tell on you. Your cheating heart will pass someday and crave the love you threw away. And when tears come down like falling rain, I do this for Lazy Lester. You'll toss around and call my name. You'll walk the floor the way I do. Your cheating heart will tell on you.
Hold on, bro. I just had to, no, don't put that down. I just had to jump in real quick. That's my brother, so I could tell the truth, because he's not telling y'all the truth. He didn't just turn 30. He's been 30 since 1874. I just want to get that straight real quick. Go ahead, man.
Well, as you know, when you live long enough, I've heard it put a couple ways, you know. I've heard old guys say, well, you Marquise, you want to live hard and die young and leave a good looking corpse. I heard another old guy in the barber shop I used to go to, he said, Marquise, he said, if you live this life right once, if you live it right once, he said, one time will be enough. But I'm still undecided whether I want to die young or try to see if one time was enough. But I will give you a little blues like this because I like what I do and I like my brother Lamont and I love everyone that's supporting us. I am a blues man. I'm not old as everybody else, but I have a lot of respect. I learned from a lot of guys who dedicated a lot of time. Henry Townsend, born 1909. Pine Tom Perkins, 1913. Honey Boy Edwards, Robert Jr. Lockwood, 1915. My grandmother was born 1932, and my grandfather, her husband, was born 1912. My mother born 1971. I'm born 1991. So I do know what it's like to have the blues. I understand my story because I come from an older people, and so that's why I sound the way I do. Maybe I'll give you this little song right here. I lost two uncles during this time, one to COVID, another one just to life itself. And I want to do this song for anybody lost anyone, anybody going through anything, anybody that's almost at the edge. Just think about a little song like this. I had a good time. And the bad. Why don't you tell him about the time we had? I'm a good man, poor man, blues man. Do you understand? I'm having a good time. Whoa, and a bad. I'm just gonna tell y'all about all the time I've had, so that in every star you see, I'm just asking, remember me, remember me. Oh, when I'm gone, I hope my smile, it helps carry you on, so that in every star you see, I'm just asking, remember me. I laugh, oh, and I'll cry. Some feelings I've expressed, others I'll try to hide. I'm a good man, poor man, blues man. Do you understand? That my children, they need me too. My heart, it insists on playing the blues. I'm a good man, poor man, blues man. Do you understand? So if I leave, oh, and go away, I'm here for you right now. I'll be back another day, so that in every star you see, I'm just asking, remember me. Oh yeah.
Yo, I just have to
That's
say,
very heartfelt.
I just have to say, because this is my brother. We spend lots of time just talking about life, and I just have to say, you can't learn how to sound and sing black. You can't. You can't learn how to sound and sing like you coming up out the Pentecostal or the Baptist church. These things, you know, because I speak to my brother often and he talks the way he sings. And I try to get him to become a pastor because I know this brother will take a storefront church all the way into, what do they call it now?
We'll be a franchise.
Bruh, TD Jakes, move over.
Oh, watch out.
No, man, I have to just say I just appreciate you, brother, and you show that the blues is the backbone and fundamental of blackness and black music. I just wanted to go on record saying that in public because I always tell you that anyway.
You know, I appreciate that, brother.
Now, where's Virginia? Because I'm not supposed to be doing the interviews. I just wanted to shout my brother out.
I appreciate that.
Am I supposed to interview him now? Is that what's happening?
Anything you need, anything.
Anything. Well, so this last song that you played for us, I don't know that did you mention or not. Is that a song you wrote?
Yeah, that's a song I wrote. Now I weaved it in with a blues man, but the song "Remember Me," and every star you see, I'm just asking, remember me. That's a song that I wrote last year. Oh no, I really written 2 years ago. Let me take that back. The pandemic has really slowed so much down. I lost my cousin. He was like my father. And this is a true story because, see, I like to make people laugh. So I'm going to give you a little backdrop to the story. I told my cousin, I said, cuz, he's my older cousin. He's born in like 1944. And I told him, I said, cuz, I said, you know, me and you like father and son, cousin. We like uncle, nephew, brothers. I said, if we get any closer, we'd have to get in the bed together. And I remember my cousin drinking some moonshine. He started laughing. He said, we don't have to do that, do we? And so when he passed away, that's the way it felt. It hurt that bad. So in every star that I see, I think about all my people. I think about everybody I come in contact with, you know, random people, you know. And so that song, really stood the test of time. You know, it went through a healing point for myself and then with the coronavirus. So here we are.
Speaking of the coronavirus, so I know that's affected a lot of musicians. And in our most recent article, our most recent issue, we actually interviewed a handful of musicians. I should be specific, Michael Jones interviewed some musicians about what they're doing during the pandemic. And I wonder if you have anything, like what sort of things have you been up to? Have you used it as writing time? Have you used it to, I know Ben and Valerie have, they've created I think it's the first Sunday of every month, they do a live stream on their Piedmont Blūz Cafe. So they've been doing that, right? And have you been doing anything similar?
Well, yeah, I've taken this time, you know, I've written a lot of songs. I decided, you know, to buy a home studio system to record at home because I do write. I write a lot, you know, I don't mean that to be bragging. I mean, just a lot come to me and I try to put it down on paper, and then I try really, with the system, really try to record it. Also at the same time, I try to work with my brother John Tavis Willis, Mr. Kingfish, Christone Ingram, you know, Stephen Hull, Mr. J Hop. We all get together and we try to do different things. And last year we got together at the Foxfire, and we got some young brothers together just examining, what is the state of the young blues. We know the state, we know the legend and the elders, but what is the state of young blues? So I discovered what that was in this time, and a lot of business. I've been fortunate, to be who I am, and the time that I am living in. Um, a lot of people want me to be involved in a lot of things. It's only one person, but I try to lend myself out as much as possible. And I really found out in this time, no matter what you want to do, you got to get with like-minded people. And even if it's something that you think somebody else is doing, you can't let that bother you or think that you are going to have bad feelings. So in this time, I've really taken and learned that you got to put self first. If people dying every single day, tens and, hundreds of people at one point, thousands were dying, you'll learn to begin to put yourself first, and start appreciating self before somebody else appreciates you. So that's what I learned.
I feel like I have so many questions to ask you. Like I want to just, I don't even know where to start. So this means that you're just gonna have to let me interview you for our newspaper. Does that sound like a thing we could do?
That's something we
Because I
can
feel
do.
like you have so much to say, and there's never enough time in an event like this for us to hear all of
That's right.
all of the goodness and the wisdom that you've got. Thank you so much, Marquise. It's been such a pleasure to have you. And I want to let you know that since we started our concert, we have received $420 in donations so far, which is good.
That's a
Marquise.
good number, really. That's a good number, folks. Doing it.
Praise God. Yes, that's
Right.
great. Keep it coming, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Marquise. It's
Thank
such
you.
a pleasure to have you. I'm so happy to meet you. Hopefully one day in real life, I can meet you. That would be good.
We will. We all will get together in fellowship and do it like we're supposed to.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So my beautiful people, you heard me. We got $420, which is really exciting. Thank you so much. But we need more. So I understand that money is tight right now because, COVID is a thing. As my students, they always, every time something happens, someone trip, and they will blame it on coronavirus. It's hilarious. So with that said, if you cannot give more, or if you can't give anything, please share our information with other folks, because that would be so helpful. So please do that. I will drop the link here. But for the moment, what we are gonna do now is we are gonna meet our young people, because we have the
Can I
African
interrupt
American
for a minute?
I suppose.
Good. No, it's okay. I'm happy you responded that way, because I just really wanted to take this time to thank you, because you've been helping us. Virginia's not only a writer, but she's like the admin. She's part of the administration team, so I wanted to take a moment to thank you. Go ahead. I'm hushing up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So what I'm gonna do, and this is not because I don't love all of our adults here, but I am gonna ask all of you. Well, you know what? I can just do this. We're gonna highlight the young people. So I'm gonna turn off all of our big people. Yeah, I only want our panelists, our people to see our young humans, right? that includes myself once I figure out how to do this. So once again, it's not because I don't love you. Okay, so do we have all of them? Right, we got Samara, we have Lamont Purley Jr., we have Gideon.
And
Last time I
Dane
checked,
Purley.
yeah, Dane,
All
are you
four of them.
there? Where is he?
Dane, where you at, man? I see him there.
Good.
Yeah, no, I think he's there. I see him too. So hopefully he'll join us. So, my beautiful people, it's so lovely to see you. You can unmute yourselves, please. Please unmute yourselves because we want to hear from you. So, I know that it's easy for the rest of the world, especially adults like myself, to take young people for granted, which is a really awful thing because you guys have a lot to say, right? And so I want to ask you, because you've written already, all three of you have contributed something to the African American Folklorist, and I want to hear from you about what that has been like so far. So what is it that you have been writing, and what are the topics that interest you?
Who are you calling on first, Virginia?
Any one of them. Who wants to talk first?
Ladies
Do you want to
first.
go?
No, ladies first. Ladies first.
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna just have to do this like I do class. I'm just gonna call
Youngest to oldest.
Ooh.
No. It's not me though.
All right.
Let's just settle this and I'll go first. All
right. Thank you, Gideon.
So, to me, I'm gonna be honest here. I've only written one article for the Black African Folklorist, but it was enjoyable because it's fun to actually write for a newspaper because it allows you to say something publicly instead of keeping it to yourself and some other random people around you. And I'm mostly interested. I'm kind of interested in writing book reports when I find like actually good books. But I also like to do current events because it allows me to say what's happening in places that aren't just here. It allows you to explore. And the thing is, doing an article for the African American Folklorist actually inspired me to join the newspaper club at school where I am currently writing articles.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So, Gideon, I have a question for you. What makes a book an actually good book?
In my opinion, it's something that actually makes me feel happy about it. Books that I like, it's rare to find a really good book that you like because there's always people that recommend books that you end up not liking, but you still read for them. But to find a book that you really like is to read a book that you chose and you actually think might be interesting. Like if you find a book in a series and the first book is good, you may want to get the second one. And then the third one, the fourth one, and so on and so forth. My point is, if you really like a book that you feel might be interesting to you, it's something you would want to read.
Right. I hear you. Awesome. That's great. All right.
Hey, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Gideon, you must write so much that you forgot because you wrote 2 book reviews for the first and second newspaper, and you've already sent me something for the upcoming one. You've gotten busy, young man. I just want to shout you out because you're
Bro,
so.
he's writing in his story.
You got more articles in the newspaper than me, Gideon. I just want you to know that. You're way on top of it.
Thanks. Okay.
All right, Samara, darling, tell me, what is your experience been writing for a newspaper so far?
Well, it's been great, and it's good to learn about like stuff I haven't learned about before. I like to learn about stuff that's happened like after and before I was born because it like helps me like learn more from like different centuries.
So does that mean you are interested in writing about those people and those events that have come before you?
Yeah, and after.
Yeah, of course, right? So what's a topic that you would like to write about next, or that you're thinking about writing about?
Maybe about like how maybe different hairstyles that happened like before me, like before I was born. About like different kind of hairstyles they use to go places, or when they're or like hair products they use that other people use.
Gotcha. Nice. So you would do like would you compare them to hairstyles that we have today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. I would love to read about that. Yeah, did you know that the first, at least someone tell me if I'm wrong, but this is what I'm aware of. One of the first Black millionaires was a woman, and she was in Harlem making hair products, and I cannot remember her name, which makes me a terrible.
Madam C.J. Walker.
There you go.
Her?
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. That's amazing. All right, what about you, Lamont Jr.? How has it been for you?
I'd say that so far it's been a pretty good experience. I don't mind when it comes to like writing or just anything in general. I don't mind doing it if somebody asks. So far I've wrote in both newspapers. One was about games that African American children played on plantation, and the other one was about my experience during COVID-19. I already know what I'm writing for this upcoming newspaper. As for the next one, I don't know yet.
Are there topics you're interested in exploring?
I don't necessarily know.
Okay.
It kind of just like comes to me, like I'll just find it or like research something. I feel like possibly, oh no, now I remember. I might write about like how technology has changed from like how people use the tower to tell the sunlight to how now we can just use digital to like tell the time.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
how much technology changed.
I would
Yeah.
sorry, I would like to add on about stuff I would like to write about. I would like to write about also animals, about like kind of animals, how animals have like evolution from like different centuries. Yeah.
Right. I love that. I would love to hear from, and now Gideon, forgive me because I am not 100% sure about your life, but I do know that Samara Lamont have moved from New York City to Kentucky recently. And I'm very curious to know if you have things to write about, like the culture that you experience and how it's different. Going from, and I don't know if you're in a big city now, but like, I would like, is that?
Well, technically, if I wouldn't say big city, more neighborhood with dirt bikes.
Okay, I can dig that. So you
And
guys,
I'm not kidding. They're usually around 9. There are usually people on dirt bikes riding up and down Broadway. But but to be honest, I live in Inwood, Manhattan. So
gotcha.
I just live at the top of Manhattan, so there's nothing really special up here.
I disagree with you, my friend. There's so much special up there. When I lived in New York City, I lived not too far from there. So I totally know what you're talking about with those dirt bikes. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I think that's the coolest neighborhood in my opinion.
Thank you. I wouldn't call it cool because I've lived here my entire life. I would just call it normal.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel that. I don't like my hometown very much either. So I get it.
No, I like Inwood because anytime my parents mention moving, I get angry. Like I wouldn't move. It's just nothing extraordinary happens up in Inwood.
All right. Do you think if you came out to visit Samara and Lamont, do you feel like you would have a major culture shock? What do you guys think?
I wouldn't say culture shock, more it'll feel different because I have never been to Kentucky. I have been to California and a couple other states, but I've never been to Kentucky.
All right. So Lamont and Samara, what is the biggest difference between New York City and Kentucky? You're only allowed one thing. Go.
The quietness.
Nice.
I'd say like how the structure is, like the way how the houses and buildings are and the stores and everything. I'd say that's different.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's great. I'm excited about that. So, my beautiful people, thank you so much for being here. We super appreciate you. I love, love, love reading the things that you have put in the newspaper for us, and I cannot wait to hear whatever it is you may do in the future. And I'm so glad that we have you. So,
We missing Dane. We missing the oldest writer.
yeah, where did he go?
Nephew,
right
where
here.
you at?
I'm here.
Dane.
Student athlete, point guard.
Ooh. Yes, we like those. Dane, tell us, what are you writing about? What has your experience been like?
It's been really cool working with my uncle. I've been writing about a whole bunch of things about Black Lives Matter. I've been writing poetry about everything that's going on in my life. Living in Brooklyn, living in Bed-Stuy, living in Brownstone, just a whole bunch of different things, playing basketball. And it's been good. I just really like working with my uncle because I don't get to see him as much anymore because he moved. And I've been growing up, so family moves, we all move apart, but we've managed to stay together and talk a lot. And I'm learning a lot from him and my dad, so it's been really cool.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear. So you're the reason that we have a poetry section. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to see more and more poetry?
I hope so. I kind of run out of ideas, but I'm going to try my hardest.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the world will give you plenty of ideas, right? Especially if you're writing about the current events happening around you, right?
Yeah.
There's always a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say, Dane, while you're here?
I'm just glad to be a part of this folklorist thing with my family, my two cousins and my uncle and my aunt.
Awesome. Well, we are so glad that you are here. And I also want to ask you a question because
he also raps.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I had to put you on blast. You trying to you're being real modest right now.
Well, then I guess we have to get a video up of you, Dane, rapping for us so that we can hear you. I also want to ask you.
I'm not a rapper, but I dabbled and dabbled with my dad and uncle, so he's the real rapper, but I'm just SoundCloud dude with my friends. Nothing serious.
You're just a what?
SoundCloud rapper with my friends. Nothing serious.
Okay. All right. Well, you never know. You never know. Before I let you guys go, before we switch to our next thing here, Dane, can you tell us a little bit about this fashion business that you have? I don't know, is business the right word? Yes, you have a
Oh,
clothing business called Change the Game.
yeah, I'm doing it with my brother, and we've been doing this for about 6 months now. We started a business with our aunt. She gave us a platform, something that was gonna help us and was something good for us as young Black men in America. So we started Change the Game. We make shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and a whole bunch of other things.
That's awesome. I think it would be great to hear to write about that, right? Is the fashion something you're passionate about? How is that changing your life? I would love to hear those things from you.
Okay. I definitely will. I have to definitely talk to my brother about that. He's a big part of that. And I will
Yeah.
definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Shane to write too. Those is my two dudes right there. And you know, they was around when I was in a different stage. They saw a whole lot of things, man. I love those cats because, you know, me and my brother, that we hung out every day. So I was with my nephews every day, you know. And so and I also heard that, I don't know if any of your people that he said, I'm the real rapper. I take that to heart. Thank you.
Of course. I didn't learn without you, man.
Power to the people.
All right. Thank you so much, my young friends, for joining us. I am so happy that you are here. You're awesome. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited for all of the wonderful things that you will do that propel us into the future. All right, so let's get our peoples. Where are you at? Lamont, come back. Yeah, we got so many folks to talk to. So many people to talk to. Oh yes, Michael Jones. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I've been busy. I'm like,
this guy is busy.
So you're busy. What are you working on right now?
well, I just finished the edits for a new book. It's called The Soulful Sounds of Derbytown. And I'm one of 6 writers, and it's a history of Black music in Louisville. And also, I got a new job earlier this year, so I edit books for the American Printing House for the Blind.
Nice.
And I'm finishing my history degree, so just a bunch of balls in the air right now.
Yeah, for sure. So you sort of specialize, right, in the history of the music in Kentucky and the Louisville area, right? Because
Yeah.
your last book was about Louisville jug music.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to write Kentucky back into the music narrative. Because we're a funky little town, and you know, especially Louisville, we're different from the rest of Kentucky. But being a river town and the home of the L&N Railroad, we were on basically all the big musicians would come through Louisville, especially at Derby time. They used to call it the money town. So like Bill Gaither is a famous, well, not so famous in blues circles. People know Bill Gaither is Leroy's buddy because he was really good friends with Leroy Carr. So people like that, Scrapper Blackwell, Leroy Carr, all the ragtime people from New Orleans, they would come to Louisville, and people from Louisville were going back and forth to New Orleans. So we got string bands and brass bands at the same time that New Orleans did. So
that's awesome. I always wondered how those guys played ragtime on their guitar. I think it's one of my favorites. It's so cool. And I can't even imagine it on the piano. And then you got like Scrapper Blackwell, right? He plays ragtime guitar. Like, what even is that? It's incredible.
Yeah, so I also did, a lot of people don't know, but Louisville's Where Happy Birthday to You was written.
You wrote about that recently.
Yeah, I wrote an article
right?
in Oxford American about how the sisters that wrote it modeled it on Black music. It was two sisters, Patty and Mildred Hill, and they were kindergarten teachers, and they wanted to write songs for children, and they realized that the Black street vendors, the songs that they sung when they were selling coal, whatever, they were like the blues, you know, like they were like lines, simple lines that were repeated, and the melodies were simple enough for kids to sing them. You didn't need a trained voice. And so all their papers are here at the Filson Club, which is a historical society, and they wrote about it. And Mildred would go to Black churches on the weekend, and she was considered to be an expert on Black music. And so there are like early books on African American folk music and stuff. They would get material from her. So she collected it in Louisville and Danville, Kentucky.
That's incredible. And I know you are like very active in your community also, because I was looking through some of your things, and you have helped to curate some music related museum exhibits.
Yeah, I did a museum exhibit called Celebrating the Sounds of Kentucky. And I also helped put on the National Jug Band Jubilee every September, which I guess last year, the Piedmont Blūz were supposed to be our headliners, and they got canceled. So hopefully we'll get them back one day.
Yeah, hopefully. So that's not happening this year.
No, it is happening this year.
Okay. Awesome.
We just decided to do it. It's going to be September 18th.
Okay, that's good to know. Now I know what I'm going to do in September on the 18th. That's great.
You come stay at the house if you want.
Yes. I would say that I'd cook for you, but I don't know that you would want me to do that.
I do most of the cooking around the house.
All right. That makes, yeah. I'm all right, but I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure there's better food out there. There definitely is better food out there. So
yeah, speaking of food, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
go for it.
Speaking of food, Michael took me and Lamont Jr. to the spot that had the spiciest chicken sandwiches. We got to get back over there, man.
Roll's chicken.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That is true, and it tasted good.
That's right, it did. When we went to the Roots 101 African American Museum in Louisville.
Yeah, and I helped them get together their music collection too.
So Michael, I think Virginia was about to ask you, but I'll just do it anyway. Would you like to share with us two things? First, interviewing Valerie and Ben, Don Flemings, and oh my God, Guy Davis for your last article, which actually is the featured and front page article. How was that?
Well, I didn't know Valerie and Ben, and it was fun talking to them. They're a good pair. They're funny. And then Dom and I know each other. He's played the Jubilee a couple times. And before I was on the board, the Chocolate Drops had played. In fact, I'm doing a webinar with Dom tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Arnold Schultz, who was a Black guitarist and fiddle player who influenced Bill Monroe. So we're doing, I've been doing these webinars for the Louisville Folk School that are available on Facebook Live for free. And the first one was about this guy named Henry Hart, who was a fiddler on the riverboats between Louisville and New Orleans. And his grandmother was a slave that helped found, was on the expedition with Daniel Boone to found Kentucky. And she, of course, was never talked about, but a white musician that's a friend of mine did research on her family, and it turned out her family owned Dolly. And so through researching that, she discovered Henry Hart. And he actually was a partner with Sam Lucas and wrote some, his big one is Good Sweet Ham, but also he wrote the music for Carve That Possum. And so when it came, you know, her being a white musician, when it came to the minstrel stuff, she wanted to get me involved. And so we did a webinar on that and her family's connection. And then the last one was Layla McCullough and myself, just talking about the history of the banjo and the connection between Haiti and string band music, and talking about why Haiti has been written out of banjo history. And so tomorrow is Arnold Schultz. So that's going to be the last one for a while.
So 2 more questions, and then Virginia is going to call on the other writers. Did you mention the magazine that you relaunched that was a historical Black?
Yeah, it's Black Sea Millennium. Our website is blackscene.org. And it was a magazine that was in Louisville in the 70s. And it was put together by some Black activists. And one of my friends, her grandfather had been involved, and she found a bunch of copies in her basement. And a lot of the stories were relevant to today, housing and dealing with policing and stuff. And we decided to use the original magazine's table of contents to launch a new magazine. And we're doing a quarterly for a year, and then we're going to do a book, and it's going to have all the copies of the old magazine and the new magazine together.
Groovy.
So, as I said, I've been really busy.
Yeah, you sure have. So I guess it's not fair to ask, what's your next article going to be about?
Well, I've been. There's some things I've been thinking about. You know, one thing that I've gotten real interested in is after the Haitian Revolution, I was doing this research to interview Layla. A lot of African Americans went to Haiti, and it reminded me a lot about Ghana. When Ghana became the first African nation to gain its independence, all these members of the diaspora were going to Africa and trying to help. And I found all these articles about in New Orleans. They were worried because all these free Blacks were leaving and going to Haiti, but that was when the American Colonization Society, where they were trying to send them all to Africa. And they wanted Haiti to fail. And so I'm writing a paper about that, and maybe I might turn that into an article for our next issue. So.
My man.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, friends, these are the kind of people we have writing with the African American folklorist. I don't even, there's like too many words. I don't know which word to use. A historian, a journalist, author, right? He's got books. He helps curate so many things. So,
Folklorist, ethnographer,
right, folklorist.
ethnomusicologist.
Oh my gosh, so many words, so many words. So please, please, please talk us up, tell your friends. Yeah, and I'm about to bring on some other writers here. Cortland, you still in the house? I hope you're
While
here.
Courtney's setting up, I just want to announce that Corey Harris is en route. Repeat, Corey Harris is en route, but we still might get a Piedmont Blūz surprise.
Oh boy, I love Piedmont Blūz surprise. And it's also, we're happy to know that Corey Harris is on his way. So, Cortland, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Don't worry about the flashing lights in the back. That's not for me.
Okay, sounds
Well,
good. I
you're
was
black.
gonna
That
say,
made me nervous.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. You have to excuse me. I'm on the road coming from my grandmother's house. My grandmother's, God bless her, she's 91 and she's doing well, but I have to spend as much time to bring the family up to visit her. Because these are her the twilight of her life. So I'm on the way back.
I hear that. Thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate you, being on the road and being here with us. So, for our people who don't know, Cortland writes for us. He is a contributing writer. He is the president of hip hop, and he is.
Try to say it again.
You want me to say it again? The president of hip hop, just like that. And he is an activist, of course, and works with youth a lot. Is that right, Cortland? Do I have that right?
Yes, I do. I run a hip hop education program that I've done for a few years for mainly in after school programs. I've done it in a few after school programs in Queens, Harlem, and the Bronx. So that's something that I'm passionate about. I think hip hop culture is one of the most powerful mediums in existence in terms of its influence and its ability to spread messages. It's just a part of the more modern reflection of the ancient African tradition that we carry through our culture. It's an extension of the blues. I always tell Lamont that he says the same thing, that the blues is my great grandfather. It's hip hop's great grandfather. And our story and moving towards those beliefs to be part of the world. Very medium, and as important as hip hop is of a medium, blues was and still is as important. And that what you guys are doing, what you guys are doing with the periodical, with the newspaper, and just with everything, is tremendous work and very, very valuable.
Awesome.
My man.
So when you do hip hop with these young people, what is the attitude that you are met with when you talk to them about the blues and where hip hop comes from?
The attitude is it's wonderful. I really get a good good feedback. They become very engaged because we couple it with contemporary, what's happening contemporarily within the hip hop scene, the music scene, and we're able to create that bridge in terms of things that are going on today, and we can say, hey, listen, this is really part of a lineage And when we point to blues and we use that bridge, they become very engaged. They love it. It becomes exciting history. And they can see themselves, they see their history, they see their parents and grandparents and those stories. I think they can, and even more so than see it, I think they can feel it. And so they innately appreciate it. And I like to think that because of the way it's presented, that helps. But the music, the storylines, the characters, the life within the blues is very, very, very much alive when you bring it to their attention, and they're very responsive. So yeah, it's I have no issues with come on, Mr. Hankins, please, this sucks, this is boring. None of those issues.
Right. Good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. You're gonna have to tell me what I'm doing wrong then, because I gotta, my students are like, what is that, country music? I'm like, this is blues. There's so many things.
We'll talk and see. And then what we do is we'll sample up some blues songs, make a beat out of it, and then make some music from it as well. So it's interactive in that standpoint too, and I think that all helps in keeping things engaged and planting seeds that I think they'll appreciate as they move into adulthood, and they'll have that information to pass on.
Yeah, that's good. Now, I know the articles that you have written for the African American Folklorist are also, they're beyond the work that you have done with hip hop and with the youth. So what are the other topics that you are interested in bringing to the newspaper? Can you tell the people about that?
I feel like one of the youngsters was like, I don't know, there's so many things, and it kind of just comes to me, right? And I've been so busy lately. Just part of the other work that I do is essential work working with the homeless, housing the homeless. So with everything that's been going on over this past year with COVID, it's kept me extremely, extremely busy. So I'm happy that I've been able to write. I did write the one article on the gentrification of hip hop. And I think we had a great interview with an amazing gentleman. What's that?
With Ari from Cobra.
Right, from Cobra, surrounding the topic of reparations. So the next thing that I would like to write about, I know Dap and I discussed a few things, but good question. I don't know what my next topic is really going to be yet, to be honest with you. But whatever it is going to be, it's going to be interesting. So I'm not sure, Virginia.
Well, let me jump in real quick, because Brother Cortland stated something, but kind of skated over it really quickly. So I just want to elaborate. The interview that Brother Cortland conducted with Area of Cobra for reparations was an audio podcast. So he wrote a short article for the print paper and then recorded an interview. I'm saying this for people listening, especially a great journalist and radio producer that is listening now that is interested in being part of our platform. So Brother Cortland introduced, he did a two-part audio interview, and the amazing part is the person he interviewed is who the movie Dead Presidents is based around. So you guys need to go back and listen to that, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was clear when you said that you interviewed somebody, you did an audio, he did a podcast ultimately that we published.
Lorenz Tate's character in Dead Presidents was based and inspired by Ari Meradizan's life. His early life, not his post life where he became an activist and a reparationist. But so that's of note, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cortland. We are so happy to have you on our team. And thank you again for making this time to
Thank you for having me and being a part of it.
Awesome. So now I would like to introduce our newest writer, she hasn't written for us yet, but we are very excited that she found us and that she wants to be part of our team. Miss Ebony Bailey.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. How did you find us? How did you find us?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here too. It's wonderful to hear about all these amazing stories, and I actually found it through Dr. Ann Farrell, who Lamont is connected with, and she was like, "Oh, do you know about the African American Folklorist?" And I was like, "No." So then I got in contact with Lamont, just talked like the other week or so, and I'm so happy to learn that this is a place and a platform, because I didn't know that I could study African American folklore until grad school. And I feel like it's so important, because folklore is basically, I feel like, history from within the community. So I'm really glad that, I have a chance to like read these stories, but also hear about them from people and maybe be able to contribute in the future.
Yeah, well, we're really looking forward to what you're going to contribute. I am can't wait for it. Are there particular elements of African American folklore that you're interested in exploring?
Yeah, I really like to look at the history of American folklore. My research was in the founding of American folklore societies, and a lot of the histories in the late 19th century would write a lot of Black people out of it. So it would be a lot of folklorists would go out into the field, and then they would collect these stories, but they just didn't give props or space for the Black people at the time who were doing the same work, who were working within the communities and talking about how basically the word folk at the time was tied up to a lot of Black representation, was tied directly to Black representation. So writers like W.E.B. Du Bois, Anna Julia Cooper, Charles Chestnut, they were talking about those things at the time. So I would love to write about something like that that looks back at the history of American folklore and really highlights the Black people that contributed to that history.
Awesome. I would be very interested in reading about that, as I know everybody else is too. I feel like the more I learn, the more I know, the more I discover how much I don't know. Which I think is, especially when it comes to history, I feel like that's true. Do you ever feel that way when you're?
Yes, every day. I feel like there's something else that I learned. Today I learned a happy birthday.
Right?
I feel like there's always something new that comes out that I was like, oh, okay, that's where it came from. That's where it started. So.
Awesome. Well, Ebony, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to see to read what you have to offer. I can already tell that it's going to be really good. So thank you so much for being here. We super appreciate you.
Yes, we are excited that you jumping on with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so next I would like to introduce you to Doug Curry, who is actually at this moment in his studio. He's doing his radio show. And like I said before, the minute you hear his voice, you will know why. He's doing the radio. I love this man's voice. It's so good, so good. I could listen to him talk forever, which is great because he's on the radio. Doug, how are you?
Hello. Am I on?
Yes, you're on. We can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if you can see me.
Yes, I can
We
see
see you, bro.
Actually, where I am right now, I'm in the studio, and I'm
Yeah.
doing live radio, so it's hard for me to be in and out. But I just wanted to be here for this this event, for this program, and support. But actually, I'm on the radio from now till midnight Eastern time.
Well,
Blacks and
hey,
Blues is the
that's
name
all
of the
right.
show.
When we're done here, we'll just go listen to the radio.
Okay. Well, that would be at WRUR.org.
All right, I got it.
And I'm really sorry I couldn't be more attentive to what we got going on tonight. I just had responsibility.
Yeah, no worries. We get it. We appreciate you being here with us. And for everyone else, like, yes, we do this. All of our contributing writers currently do this for free. The more that you contribute, the easier it will be for us to make time and space for these things. We don't have to worry about our real jobs, not our real jobs. That was a terrible way to say that, wasn't it? That was bad. I shouldn't do that.
Well, let's say the ones we're obligated to, as opposed to the ones we do as a labor of love.
There you go.
On the radio, I'm talking trash, right? I'm in that. Hey, but I did get to catch Marquise, and I did get to catch Piedmont Blūz, and I really was very happy about being there for that. Let me change this record, and here we go. All right. So I'm doing what people say. Well, you got to do one thing at a time. Well, what if there's two things to do at the time? So
you just gotta do them both.
Yeah, you got to do them both. You just hope not to do harm to either one. So I hope not, but I really do appreciate it. I'm glad to see everybody.
Well, thank you for being here, Doug, and hopefully we can. You could talk when you're on the radio tonight. You can talk a little bit about us. We'll be listening, right?
I did do that at the beginning. Okay, but let's see. You guys have what? Maybe a half hour now.
Yeah,
a little bit more than that. Yeah, just about. Piedmont Blūz is about to give us.
After that half hour, so that you'll be aware. I did already, but after that half hour, I'm going to come with it again. I wish there was a way I could get you plugged in with me, but I don't see how.
Well, let me just say one thing. Brother Doug Curry is not just any radio host. He's a blues aficionado. He knows the blues. He know Black history. He know Harlem history. He know Louisville history. So this cat is a walking. As much as I want to say Black encyclopedia, his wisdom is so vast. I think that would do a disservice to just say one area of expertise.
Man, you know what it is? It's just too many things that I just don't know, and I'm trying to find them all out. That's why I'm around people like you. For real. I mean, that's the honest to goodness truth.
I appreciate you, bro. I definitely do. And we're gonna put the donation link back in the chat. Corey Harris is on his way. He just hit me up. I would ask though if Piedmont Blūz could come to the front. Doug, you are the best. You are my brother. And I'm gonna give it back to Virginia.
Thank you. I'm gonna get back to the radio. I still got you, but I'm turning it down so I can do it while I'm on the radio.
All right, sounds good, Doug. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, so hopefully we'll see Ben and Valerie Turner, the Piedmont Blūz Acoustic Duo, jumping on with us. We can hear a song from them while Corey Harris is getting himself set up.
Here? Yeah.
Yeah, there they are. Oh, beautiful people.
Hi,
I know it's a little late over there. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
Well, we wanted to meet you. We were thrilled to be featured in the second edition of the magazine. And it's nice to meet some of the people that made that happen.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I also wanted to just say, because you sent me a few things, right, to promote, and was surprised because I didn't know this before, that you guys have washboards that you make for people. Like you can purchase a washboard and like play it. That is so cool.
Yes, I'm an artist, so I create these washboards for other percussionists and also to be used as art. So it can be hung on the wall and you know, it serves two purposes.
Right. That's awesome. That's the best thing. Art that you can play. That's perfect.
And also Valerie wrote this wonderful book on the blues. And I'm a senior art director, graphic designer, so we published this ourselves in the house. Yeah.
Yes, I have been able to look at that book. I have a friend who took a guitar class from you, Valerie, at the Jalopy Theater. And he bought the book and he was like, look at this. And I was like, oh my God, I need to meet this human. So yes, I have seen that book and I think y'all should buy it, especially if you are interested in learning to play, because it has, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to play the guitar, but it's very, very cool. And it's got all the music and also the history information for the music.
I'll put the link to Piedmont Blūz website in the chat so everyone is accessible to that book and their CDs.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. So Ben and Valerie are gonna play a tune for us, and then we're gonna kick it over to Corey Harris.
Or two.
All right.
Or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, we've got two that we can do. So we're going to share a song with you from Mississippi John Hurt, who anybody that knows me knows that I have big love for Mississippi John Hurt. His music is what introduced me to country blues as a whole. And this is actually the very first song that I ever performed on a stage. And I performed it with none other than John Cephas playing second guitar. So it's a special song to me. The name of the song is Payday. little taste of Mississippi John Hurt for you. And I guess we'll leave you with a gospel song. We haven't done one of those. Why don't you tell them about it?
And this song, we were watching the movie Sounder. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with it, but Taj Mahal curated all the music for that movie, and at the beginning of that movie was this song called "Needed Time," and we just fell in love with it and decided to make it part of our, staple in our pieces.
Well, the song is by Lightnin' Hopkins of Texas, and it's a rare song in his repertoire because he didn't really do a lot of gospel. And, well, this is our version of Needed Time.
Jesus, will you come by here? Jesus, will you come by here? Jesus, will you come by here? Now is the needed time. Oh, now is the needed time. Jesus, will you come by here? Even if you can't stay long, no. Even if you can't stay long, even if you can't stay long. Now is the needed time, right now is the needed time, even if you can't stay long. Praying for you to come by here, I'm praying for you to come by here. Jesus, won't you come by here? Now is the needed time, right now, Lord, is the needed time. Praying for you to come by here. Is a needed time, right now, Lord, is a needed time. Now is a needed time. Come, if you don't stay long, Lord, come, if you don't stay long. Jesus, won't you come by here? Down on my knees and praying, I'm down on my knees and praying. Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here? Oh, Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We super appreciate having you and supporting our newspaper. I cannot thank you enough. I know Lamont is very grateful, all of us who work for the paper.
You're very welcome.
Very welcome.
It's a great cause.
Thank you.
Is our special friend. He may
Yes.
have moved to Kentucky, but we know where he's really from.
That's right. New York, New York. Yes, I see Brother Corey is here.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hey, Corey. Good morning to you.
Yes.
Good morning, honorable academic, scholarly teacher and blues legend.
Greetings, family. How y'all doing?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. It's good to see you all.
Thank you for joining us. It's so early in the morning for you. We appreciate you waking up early just to be here.
Yes, I'm ready. I got a cup of tea.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. So for our friends, I want to let you know Corey Harris is an incredible writer. The things he has contributed to the African American Folklorist are very moving and wonderful reads. In addition to, of course, being a musician, and as Lamont says, a prophet and a scholar and an academic, he has also recently written a book. I have the name of that book right here. Let me make sure I've got it right. Blues People Illustrated, Legends of the Blues, Drawings, Biographies, and Discographies. So if you are interested in checking that out, we have put his links to his book and to his online store in the chat. And we are very happy to have him with us. So Corey, thank you so much
Wait, hold on 1 second.
for joining us.
Miss Virginia?
Yes.
You can't just call him a musician. You have to call him a blues legend.
Oh, excuse me.
A roots music
blues
legend.
I
A
take
reggae legend.
A legend. We have the legendary Corey Harris with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wow.
Would you like to play your music first, or do you want to talk to us first about your work with the African American Folklorist? What is your preference, my friend?
Oh, let's talk a little bit. If anyone has any questions, and then I'll play some music. But thanks all again for the honor. It's I'm very humbled to be here with y'all, and looking forward to many more years of doing the same thing.
Thank you. I want to know, because I was rereading through the articles, the columns that you have written for the African American Folklorist, and what is it like to observe the United States from where you are, and also knowing what it is like to be here? I'm curious, do you feel outside of us? Because the way you write about it, it feels like you're here.
Oh yeah, I'm always here. I'm always there, as it were. I don't really, I guess maybe because of the media, the internet, I'm able to keep abreast of things better than if I were over here 20, 25 years ago, you know. So, but yeah, I feel very much connected in many ways, not only to just the States, but to the Black diaspora in general. You know, is what I'm drawn to culturally, and when I'm looking into history and reading, that's the register that I'm operating from, you know, and it's a source of inspiration, you know. So yeah.
There's so many things I could ask.
I have a question, because I've just man, had the honor to be able to, read some of Corey's work, then be able to. This is after I heard the plethora of musics. I read an articles and was able and had the honor to interview him, and it just kind of morphed into a brotherhood. My question is, in the moment we are not just on the Americas but in the world, how would you suggest, or what would be your suggestion in evening the playing field business wise for Black blues musicians, and then how can we get some type of understanding, closure, or alliance with those non Black musicians and historians in our fight?
Well, I think one thing is to encourage. Well, first, we should be stewards of the narrative, as every nation is the stewards of the narrative of their people, So we should be the ones who are the authoritative voices. And then we should encourage those who are seriously interested in the study of the story to contribute their voice, to want to humble themselves to learn material, and then to contribute their voice to spread the word, and whether they're in a Black community or whatever community they're in, and to encourage serious research, because in the internet world, it's so easy to believe memes and things, and old scratchy looking photos with some text in it, that is drawn from, whatever, and we don't really know who wrote it or whatever, what I mean? So yeah, I think that's one aspect of it. And also we have to realize that it's an economic movement that we're involved in. It's not just looking to the history, but being able to reap the rewards of a tradition, economically. So we have to, I think, look at things more holistically and realize that it's not just for entertainment. It's a deeper mode that we have to work with, because if we're just working on this entertainment, we're just like working for, the bartender, as it were, to sell drinks, at the gig, so it's deeper than that. Yeah. And that's why I try and take it more seriously than just the music, and try and look at it from the writing aspect of it, from the exploration of the history, because a lot of our voices are not in those discussions. I mean, there are important ones that are there, of course. I mean, Eileen Southern, Black woman, is a real well-known folklorist, of course, founding mother, but there can be many more, and especially nowadays. So that's the vision, that's the mission right now.
So I would like to ask one last question before you get to it, because it does. I mean, it's early over there, so I don't want to. You've written for a lot of publications, and you're asked to do a lot. Why? What was it about this publication that you felt to say, "Yo, my young bro, let me have a column"?
Well, it's for us and it's by us, and so I have to give my energies to that. I love it. You know, I love what you do. And, you know, it's funny, you know, we've actually never been in the physical room together. Like we've actually never broke bread together, but I feel like we have, you know. That's the funny thing of it. I'm just really proud to be in association with you. You know, I wear my shirt all the time. You know, it goes well with my turbans, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm definitely very proud and happy to be in the inner courts, as it were, of the organization, and to be asked to give us strength, you know. But yeah, it's important. Like I said, we have to take charge of our narrative and to be culturally aware and to love ourselves, you know, and that way we can share that love with other people if we love ourselves first, you know. But if we don't know who we are and it's just a bunch of confusion, can no one else count on us? And then we just like open season as well, you know. So if we're talking about actually having a world community, then it has to start with each of us getting our house in order, you know. And that's what we as Black people culturally need to realize, is we have to claim with both hands the tradition that we've established, and unapologetically be about promoting what we have contributed.
So before Corey gets to it, I just want to lift up my camera real quick. Do you guys see those two portraits in the back? Those two portraits were drawn by Corey Harris. To my left, that is the Honorable Son House, who inspired me to pick up a guitar, and to left, yeah, and to the right of me, that is Lizzie Douglas, who Piedmont Blūz played one of her songs, better known as Memphis Minnie, who has possibly the longest catalog next to Petey Wistro. Now, so you can also get those on the link that we provided for you. But don't forget to run them donations. I'm out.
Yeah. That's right. I don't know why, but somehow I was just started to think of Reverend Ike. I don't know why. Box 1000, Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, indeed. So, let me get this tuned up good. Well, I'm going to start out with an instrumental that I just kind of was visited by. It's called Chickens Come Home to Roost, Insurrection Blues. Thank y'all. Well, this next tune I want to play for y'all is an old Skip James tune. And the way I came about this tuning actually was from listening to Skip James and making a mistake, thinking he was in this tuning, but actually he was in Spanish tuning in open G. But and I for years thought that I was playing this tune in the right tuning, but then when I would watch Mr. Cephas play it, I was like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done. But I was so far into the rabbit hole of the way I was doing it, I never learned it the right way. So here it goes. Well, I ain't got no special rider here. Got no special rider here. Well, I ain't got nobody to love and feel my care. Oh, this morning I looked at the special rising sun. Oh, this morning I looked at the rising sun. Well, I pray to the good Lord, my special rider, she comes. How you reckon it rain? Yeah. Later this morning, how do you reckon it rain? Said now hurry home, boy, your special rider she did. Reason I ain't got no special rider, yeah. Reason I ain't got no special rider, yeah. Well, I ain't got nobody to love and feel my care. y'all. Ooh. But pardon me, I have to get my guitar tuned here. If anyone has any questions, I just need to tune my guitar up here for a minute. So
Well, I can tell you, looking at the feed, there's hands clapping. Isaac Duncan said, "Oh yes." So it's received well.
okay, well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad because you know, brothers be kind of out of practice with this pandemic and everything, you know. So it's I'm glad to hear that things are still hitting.
So this is not a question, but while you're tuning, Brother Isaac said, "Speaking to the soul." So I want to ask you, how important is it when it comes to blues, when it comes to roots, when it comes to our traditional music, to speak from and to the soul?
Well, it's vital, you know. It's speaking to the soul, you know, that's a conversation, you know, that's an ancestral conversation, you know, because our soul, in so much as we have a soul, it is only through our ancestors being before us that we have one, you know, and that is the wellspring that we tap it into when we're playing this music. So yeah, it's vitally important because it centers us, you know, it lets us know where we've been and where we're going and what we've got to take to the battlefield, you know, what kind of tools, what kind of weapons, what kind of food, what kind of water, you know what I mean, that we're gonna need for that journey.
One of the writers actually has a question for you. Corlin Hankins, where are you living now? Why did you choose to leave the States?
Oh, well, long question. Well, I'm living in Italy right now. Soon will be returning to the States, but long story why. Basically, I had some work over here. I knew a promoter, booking agent rather, not a promoter, who had a lot of links here in Europe. And I was at a time where I didn't have a lot of job opportunities in the States, you know. And then in the meantime, the pandemic jumped off and just made what was intended to be like a sabbatical much longer. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why. Any other questions?
He said, thank you. There's no other questions at the moment.
Okay. All right. All right, well, this is an original tune. It's called Black Woman Gates. Through driving rain and sleet or snow, follow my baby no matter where she go. Well, I won't be late, just can't wait until I reach my black woman. Won't be late, just can't wait until I reach my black woman. weather for wind blow. Well, I won't be late. Just can't wait until I reach my black woman. Well, I won't be late. Just can't wait until I reach my black woman. Yeah, baby. 6 shaggy puppies, one old mangy hound. Take all them dogs just to run my rider down. Well, I won't be late. I just can't wait until I reach my black woman. Well, I won't be late. Just can't wait until I reach my black woman. Well, I won't be late. Just can't wait until I reach my black woman. Oh, all right now. All right now, all right now, all right now. Thank you all.
Did you see what it says there?
Yes. Thank you. All right now. Well, this is a tune I first learned from watching Jeff Scott do it, the Honorable Jeff Scott, great Jeff Scott. Those who don't know Jeff Scott, he's the nephew of the great John Jackson. And I really love listening to his music and listening to him talk about Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson was one of the first musicians that I looked up to give me encouragement. I was blessed to open up for him on a few occasions, and he always had an encouraging word for me, and we had some nice times together. So there's a tune called Rocks and Gravel. Rappahannock. Take rocks and gravel, build a solid road. Well, take rocks and gravel to build a solid road. Take a black-skinned woman to satisfy my soul. Well, I love my baby, love all night long. Well, I love my baby, love all night long. Well, I love my baby, love when she gone. Wow. Shout now. last night. Well, your hair all tangled and your clothes ain't fit you right. Hey, okay. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you are here with us. Thank you for waking up so early to be with us. So yeah, we're thinking, do you have one more you want to play for us?
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I do. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Let's see here. Well, this tune I wrote is called Watching You. Thinking about Edward Snowden, you know. Watching you and they're watching you and they're watching you. Who you're talking to and they're watching you. They're even listening to and they're watching you. Watching me and you. Woo. My eyes on you while you watching what I do. Everywhere I go, even who I be talking to, well, them slavery days. Who knew, remember when them chains and shackles, remember when time come again, well, they're watching you and they're watching you and they're watching you. Who you talking to and they're watching you. They're even listening to and they're watching you. Watching me and you. Oh, they are watching you. I and I can congregate. Don't want Bobo Shanty to meditate. It is I and I they violate. Even I and I they designate the word for investigation and prosecution. So much separation in every nation where they're watching you and they're watching you and they're watching you. Who you talking to and they're watching you. They're even listening, watching me and you. They are watching you. They are listening, watching too. Oh, oh, oh. Good God. One day the powers that be, well, they all gonna flee. Even now the fire's getting hotter, and there will be no more water. And my brother Nestor wrote the line, say they can't stop the time. Earthquake and lightning, thunder, they gonna find, well, they gonna find, yeah, where they're watching you and they're watching you and they're watching you. Who you talking to and they're watching you. They're even listening to and they're watching, 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 and they're watching you, and they're watching you, and they're watching you. Who you talking to, and they're watching you, they're even listening, watching, watching, watching. Me and you, they are listening, they are watching, they are listening. Say they be watching you.
I have a old school pick that has a black fist on it. I wish I brought it down here just for this moment.
I know the one you're talking about, the one that if you forget to take it out your back pocket, you got to go to the emergency room.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Corey, for being here and for your contributions to the African American Folklorist. It's such a joy to meet you one day. Hopefully in person, it will be a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For our friends watching, I believe that at this juncture, I can let you know that we have been able to raise about $500, I think, in donations. So the campaign on our Indiegogo, they'll be going for the next 60 days. So we'll have it around. Please, please, please share that with your friends. Yeah, Lamont is showing us a picture of Corey in the newspaper. He's got 2 columns, one in each of our issues so far, and definitely see another one in the 3rd, which hopefully we will be able to print without any problems, thanks to all of our friends who are donating to us. So yeah, unless anybody has any questions, I think that is the end of our concert this evening. Lamont, do you have anything you want to add?
So, the more you guys can help, the more we can not only pay the overhead of the newspaper, but we can also pay our writers, contributing writers, columnists, as well as have a stipend for those who submit articles or even audio and video content. So I'm just overwhelmed right now by this evening, and I just want to thank my brothers and sisters for coming out and spending this time, and I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Brother Cortland. Thank you, Miss Heather. She's a great, like I said early on, she's our kids' piano teacher. I just want to thank you all. Piedmont Blūz, Marquise Knox, the Honorable Scholarly Prophet Corey Harris. I have to also give a special thanks to Virginia Jimenez, because she puts the work in with Denise and I, and we appreciate you. You need to know that.